Happy Chanukah. And most of you that will be watching this will be watching a rerun of this. But we're going to read a little bit of a teaching of the Baal Shemtov. And because it's Chanukah, it'll be short, but keep it very focused as this teaching is. So Chanukah is all about the light. And light is a metaphor. It's not just what we observe it to be and the way that we experience it in a natural form. In other words, we look at light as that which allows us, of course, to see and to benefit from the beauty of everything that's out there. Of course, we look at the sun and we are very, very grateful and appreciative for the blessing that God bestows upon us by gifting us with this light. But this light that we are experiencing in a physical form is only one form of light. And to give an example, when you learn something new, you're enlightened. It's like the lights went on. In other words, imagine that you had a perspective about a certain human being, and you had a very negative perspective about the person for whatever reason. And then someone had a conversation with you, which everything that you found out about this person not only made you not be upset about the person, but actually made you feel horrible for the way that you felt about the person. So that information is when the light bulb goes on, and that is a form of light. And even that is a limited form of light, because even though that's a powerful light, but it's a form of light that's limited. It's limited because of the fact that everything that's within intelligence is limited. So then there's a higher form of light. And the higher form of light is that which is called the concealed light. And in fact, when you look at the beginning of the narrative of the Torah, the beginning when we talk about light, of course, it's before, several days before the sun comes into the picture. So when the Torah says, let there be light, it obviously means a different form of light. And as the commentary Rashi points out, that light that is being described over there in the Torah is actually a light that after it was brought to being, it was concealed for most of history, for most people. Not so for the holy people. The holy people are in touch with that light and are present to it. But as we're going to talk about now, there's a way in which we get to experience that light. So let's hear from the teachings of the Baal Shemtov. This was said by the Chinuch Beis Yehuda, who said this in the name, that he heard it in the name of the Baal Shemtov. He says, I heard in the name of the Baal Shemtov, regarding that which we just spoke about, that after creating light, the Creator concealed that light. And how is it and where is it concealed? Since it's the light that really penetrates everything, or at least it did when it was present in a revealed fashion, and therefore, where is that light? It's the light that allowed for us to experience, that which is before us, and to experience that which was before us in a way that we usually don't, because we don't usually see that light. So the answer is that the Baal Shem Tov said that Hashem concealed it in the words of the Torah. The Torah is beyond limitation in comparison to the limitations of the universe. And when someone learns Torah for its proper purpose, meaning to be a vessel for the wisdom of the Creator, because that's what the Torah is, then the concealed light that's spoken of in our conversation, that which is not observed by the eye, but can be observed in a deeper form, is revealed to that person. But of course, this comes with the condition, as the Baal Shem Tov says, that the person is learning Torah for the right reasons. and learning it not to make themselves grander or make themselves wiser, so to speak, but rather to be a channel for the divine wisdom that is in the words of the Torah. And thus, when we learn it and we digest it and we become it, then we become subjects of this divine wisdom, of this divine light, of this concealed light. In other words, we become able to be present to that divine light. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to just, in terms of the actual teaching, and just to speak about that divine light. It's think about when people have a transformation, and although they may have lived their life in a way that was very crude for a long time, but something went off inside them. Not necessarily something that they could explain, but something that they experienced that allowed them to see that which in the past they did not see, they did not experience. When you hear about all these people with their near-death experiences, that could be a good example. When you hear about their stories afterwards, I have a first cousin who was very dear and close to me, and he had a very difficult situation in his life, which because of that, he became a completely different person. And that is right now concealed from us. But God willing, in the near future, it'll be revealed to us in the more powerful way as it was in the beginning of creation. But from now until then, the way that we get present to the light, which is what Chanukah is all about, the way we get present to that is by us learning the words of Torah, getting connected to it. Every one of us have different ways in which we could do that. But on our website, there's so much that you could learn at jewishmalibu.com. Type in any subject, learn some Torah, get connected to it. There are schedules that Jews all over the world do every day in terms of learning Torah, whether it be the study of the Bible, the Torah, every day as it's broken up into 7 portions for every week, or it's the study of Tanya, which is the mystical teachings that allow us to digest the mystical light, the concealed light, to be able to observe it and to experience it, that only could happen because of the fact that we're infused with a narrative of something that allows us to see something that otherwise we wouldn't see. And then, of course, are the holy words of Tehillim, of Psalms, that King David wrote through divine inspiration. And when one studies them, and there's so many places on Chabad.org that one gets connected to those words in a way that their heart also gets involved in the prayers. And when a person does all of that with the right intention, the Baal Shemtov says that's when Hashem opens up to you the concealed light right now. That's what it means, Mashiach now. It means to be present to that which is concealed, but we get to be able to see it because of where our consciousness is at. So having said that, I want to wish you all a happy Chanukah, and may Hashem bless us all to be able to be a channel for that light, to bring the intimate love of Hashem to every human being that we encounter and every creature and to everything, and to be able to involve our minds and our hearts in a way, in a conversation that's much higher than the one of the lower self, through informing ourselves with the words of Torah, enlightening ourselves. God bless you, and have a